All right, all right. Let's do this. Going live. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. It is day fucking three of Drama Free Dream Team, the 3-day masterclass for small business owners ready to build their team, ready to systematize their business and scale their revenues while cutting down their work hours to like 4 days max per week. Because who can work 5 days, 6 days, 7 days? That's absolutely insane, especially when you're a small business owner who has already put in the years of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. We're done with that. And that's what this week is all about. So hello, welcome back. My name is Kiki Lovelace. I am a small business owner. I have had several small businesses in my life. Right now I'm running 2 companies and I have a third one that I'm starting to step into and learn more about that I'll take over someday soon. Which is very exciting. And I am also a leadership and success mentor for small business owners. I've been working professionally as a mentor and coach for almost 8 years now. And I would love to get to know you. Please introduce yourself in the comments below where you're watching this live. Some of you are logged in as your business, so we don't know your name. So tell us your name in the comments. Tell us the name of your business and let us know if you're watching live, if you're watching on the replay. Write that in the comments. I'll be able to see your comments as they come through. So our theme today is level up your leadership. And it's really about 2 things. Number 1, it's about the practical 3D reality pieces that have to do with training up your team members to be leaders in their own right, whether that's developing their skills as salespeople, as operations managers or facilities managers, as marketers, if you have a marketing team, or if you have a service-based business like many of my clients do, you'll be helping them up level as coaches, facilitators, trainers, teachers, etc. We won't have time to go into detail about all those like 3D practical reality things. But if you do end up investing in Embodied Boss, the 12-month leadership academy, which is my signature method and my signature coaching program, you will get instant access, like literally when you make your first payment, to the entire body of work that is called the Embodied Leadership System. It's all my modules, it's all my sample documents and templates and formulas, and you'll get all that coaching about the 3D reality stuff. But today we have a limited amount of time, and there is one other piece to leveling up your leadership that I think I can shine some light on. That is your own internal leadership work. Essentially, today, I want to give you a vision for how to ascend out of your current level of leadership into a place where you're contributing at your highest level, whatever that may be at this moment, which won't require as long of hours as you've been putting in. It won't require stressing about every little detail of your small business like you've likely been doing. It's serving at a higher level. It's being supported at a higher level. It's receiving at a higher level. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I am super excited to have this conversation with you because it's so juicy. It's like the combination of all the things that light me up around like being very practical and down to earth and having tools and resources and things that are just like very useful. But it's also like really speaks to my love and passion for personal development work and for leadership work. And for those of you who are here live with me on the live stream, you can write your comments and questions in the chat. I'll be able to see it as it comes through live. And if you're watching on the replay, please do write your comments and questions as you're following along, because I'll get tagged and I'll be able to come back and interact with you on those. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the 4 levels of leadership of a small business owner. You can write that at the top of your page if you're taking notes. 4 levels of leadership of a small business owner. Sometimes you'll hear me calling these the 4 altitudes. Okay, here we go. The first altitude I like to lovingly call doer of all the do's. How do you know that you are operating at the level of doer of all the do's? It's exactly like it sounds. You wake up, you pick up your phone instantly to check on things before you even get out of bed. That's what it feels like to be a doer of all the do's. You see a text in that moment from one of your team members that they're calling out sick, and you instantly hop to. You're on your text thread, you're asking so and so if they can come in early, blah, blah, blah. It's like instantly your nervous system is like, "Shah," and you're up and at them for the day. Now you have to send out this flurry of text to make sure the job duties are covered. You're trying to get yourself ready. Maybe if you have a family like me, you're trying to get the family out the door, but you're also like distracted by your phone and what's going on and people responding or not responding, etc. You take a glance at your calendar later in the day, just before your first meeting, and you see like, oh my God, this day is like totally booked solid. Like there's not even an inch of space. You don't even know how you're going to like eat lunch. Like, where's lunch coming from? How will you have time to put the food in your mouth and chew it and swallow it? Like, that's the kind of schedule that a doer of all the do's suffers through every single day. 6 days, probably 7 days a week, right? After a super busy day, if it's a work day, you get home, maybe you make some dinner. If you have family, dogs, whatever, you get the kids to bed, you take the dogs for a walk or whatever it is, at this point, you hop back on your computer to deal with, some customer service request that hasn't been answered in the email inbox. Maybe you find yourself like knee deep in a late night, like marketing project or sales project or something like that to get your next event live on your page or whatever it is, and you turn off your computer, like you just shut it down exhausted at like 11:30. You have not made time for yourself. You've not even had a lick of time to like think a thought other than just like go, 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 do, 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 do. And I want you to know, if you are a founder and you have a newer business, welcome to the club, babe. This is what it's like for the first like 12 to 36 months. And you're not doing it wrong. That's what I want you to understand is like, if you are a small business owner, you are a doer of all the do's. Like, this is part of what makes you a good small business owner is you're like willing to roll up your sleeves and do the thing, right? And you don't care if it's like sweeping the leaves outside your brick and mortar or, making the new checkout link inside your, online software. Like even if you don't know how to do the thing, this is what makes you a good small business owner. It's like you're willing to Google it and figure it out, YouTube it, right? And like figure it out. You're willing to do it. And you're not going to wait. You don't wait for anyone to tell you to do it. You just do it. So this is part of what you're here to do at first. Of course, you don't have a huge budget for payroll. So you will be doing the job of like 5 to 7 humans for some years. And sometimes I say like 5 to 7 departments, right? Because it's not just humans. It's like you're the marketing department, the sales department, the delivery department, the customer service department. Like you're doing all, right? The facilities department. You're doing all those things, right? But I want you to know many of us stay operating at this level of doer of all the do's way longer than is necessary, because really after about 18 months or so, you're going to be really over it. And it's time for you to start to delegate, right? If you stay in this level of like control freakiness, doing all the do's, first of all, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to burn yourself out. And it actually is going to slow down your success after a certain point. So when you've been working at this altitude for too long, you might feel frustrated, annoyed that like people don't get it. Your team doesn't get it, or your clients don't get it. You'll feel resentful. You might feel ashamed that your sales just like aren't quite taking off the way you thought they would be. And that you're essentially working to pay your payroll and your other business expenses. Like you're working like a dog, so much harder than you ever did, like when you were working for someone else, right? Oh my God. You might feel resentful that literally no one sees you, no one understands you, no one gets how effing hard this is to build a small business from scratch, or even appreciates the sheer volume of hours you are putting into this trying to make it work, or the risk you've taken by taking on your business loans or whatever, right? You might feel really scared. I think a lot of us operate from like a place of like constant fear, especially in those early years of small business ownership, scared that this whole business isn't going to work, that you're going to fail. You might feel like simultaneously like compelled to invest more money in growth, like whether it's equipment or software or team or, a coach or a mentor or whatever. But then you also feel like terrified to spend more money to invest in it. It's just like this big push and pull constantly. Even if you know that a few strategic investments could probably really help, like you still might have resistance and fear around that. I think that's totally normal. Now, I want to say, if you do a couple of things right, then you will end up in a new altitude, in a new level that we call manager. Sometimes I lovingly call it micromanager because that's usually what it is for us. So how do you know that you're operating at the level of leadership we call manager? Well, at this level, you might have a small team, even if it's just one person or two people, maybe 6 people, something like that. And you've trained them as best as you've been able. Like oftentimes we don't even really know how to train our initial team members, but you've trained them as best as you're able to do some of the administrative tasks or the cleaning tasks or maybe like some of the like online techie stuff that you don't like doing or whatever. But it feels like you're answering their questions via text or email every 2 effing seconds. That's what it feels like. Maybe you're constantly negotiating with yourself, like, should I teach them this or should I just do it myself? Oh, it'll be just easier, faster if I just do it myself. Let me just do it myself, right? You might still be on the line for all the big things like mounting what I call like a turn-on event, like this 3-day masterclass, or like creating an automation or finding subs if you have a brick and mortar, or meeting with your maintenance people, because you feel like you really can't ask anyone else to hold that much responsibility. Like, what if they mess it up? You have this like fear that they won't do it as well as you. And when your team asks you for raises, which is going to happen if you do this long enough, you feel like you should give them one, even though you're not even paying yourself nearly enough for the whole thing to be sustainable, right? But you say yes, maybe anyway, because you're afraid that if you put a boundary in place, if you say no, they'll leave and you'll be totally effed, because then you'll be back in the altitude of doer of all the do's, right? This is like the catch-22 of being in the altitude of manager. Honestly, this stage just is the worst. It's absolutely exhausting. It can be very disheartening, especially when you seem to have a revolving door with huge amounts of turnover in your team, or like team that is like flaking on you, or causing drama with your clients or your customers, or not doing the thing that you thought you told them to do, etc. It might feel like at this stage you're constantly starting over again, and you can never actually even get to your business growth projects that would make you more money if you had time to do them, right? And now you're feeling the effects of all this stress you're carrying, and it's spilling over into your relationships with your kids or with your partner, with your friends, etc. Like, do you even have friends? Like, that happens at this stage of managers. Like, we kind of lose our friends. We lose track of them, right? It's like I remember when I was in this stage pretty early on, actually, of building my commercial studio business. I said to my husband, like, I just created my dream business and it's no fucking dream. Like, this is not a dream. It's like, this is not fun at all. Right? Now, I want you to know this altitude of manager is where 60% of business owners get stuck. They never ascend to the next altitude. It's hard to see the way forward yourself. So at this point, even if you invest in a few business development courses and you do a couple of things right, it is true that you might start to gain a little more financial and entrepreneurial intelligence, but you'll feel like, I don't know how to get to the next level. Now, if you do get to the next level, some of you are actually making your way. Like, you've been serving at the altitude of manager for quite some time, and you're starting to level up. And now you're in the level of CEO. CEO knows her shit when it comes to business strategy. She's been around the block. She has the drive and the resolve to execute. She makes no excuses whatsoever. How do you know that you're serving at this level? What does it feel like on a day-to-day basis? When you're serving at the level of CEO, you have a clear marketing message. You have a defined sales process. You know how to do it. You've even perhaps taught your team members how to do it. You're attracting soulmate clients on the regular, although maybe perhaps not as many as you'd like, but whatever, like it's happening, You're starting to attract even better applicants to your job positions, and you're able to let go of some of the control you were holding as manager. You finally feel perhaps that you have a little more breathing room and you have even a little more time on your schedule at this level of CEO. You have managers who are more or less managing the day to day and doing a lot of the busy work, right? It sounds ideal, right? I know it does, but it's not. Here's the issue with stopping at the level of CEO. At this level, you're probably way overspending on lots of different business expenses, and most especially on payroll for your team. And you might find yourself lying awake at night wondering, how in the heck are you going to come up with enough money for your next payroll if this launch doesn't meet your goals? You're probably putting a ton of your revenues into lead generation at this level because you realize marketing is important and you're prioritizing it. That might be in the form of an ad strategist, your ad spend, your funnel coach, your sales mentor for you and your team or whatever. And because you're spending so much money on lead generation, you're personally not making nearly enough money. I've seen this even in my 7-figure clients who are literally taking home $10,000 a month or something like that, which is nothing when you're making 85K, right? In revenue or more. It's really a very small profit margin and it's not appropriate at that level. When you do actually take time off when you're serving at this level of CEO to spend some time with your family or go on vacation, the cracks in your business start to show. If you know what I'm talking about. Like systems break down when you're not there. Engagement in your socials may start to dwindle. Even your sales might seem lackluster if you're not doing the sales calls or you're not closing the sales in your DMs or whatever it is. And your nervous system is so hardwired at this level for busy work because you've been doing it for years, right? And putting out fires all day long. Even if you do have more time freedom at this level, somehow you end up like frittering away the day and just like on your computer all day long, neglecting your self-care, falling into bed exhausted and being like, what in God's name did I actually complete today, right? That's what it feels like. You might feel a little bit guilty at this level, like you're finally making money. You finally have more time than ever, but it all feels like it could crumble at any moment, right? And you'd be right back where you started. You simultaneously like want success and don't want success all at the same time. It can be a really challenging moment. But I want you to know there's this whole other category of leaders that I would say less than 5% of entrepreneurs are ever able to get to. And this is the category that I call the visionary leader. Now, how do you know when you're a visionary leader? This is when you set financial goals with yourself, with your mentor, with your team, and the results are even better than you had imagined. You have a significant profit margin, like 30% to 80%, depending on the industry you're in, and you're still able to put into your compensation packages for your team bonus pay structures, benefits, paid continuing ed, etc. This is where you can go on a vacation or even a month-long sabbatical like some of my clients do, and your audience is none the wiser. They have no clue that you're even out of town. Sales continue to be made, social media posts are posted, the clients are getting amazing results because your team is able to wow them with their skills and with the value that they're providing every day. This is where you get to a place where the business is no longer dependent on any one person, most especially on you, because it's been dependent on you for years now. And the brand is so strong that you have a steady stream of leads always and forever. It's just not a problem anymore. Your happy clients and customers stay with you for years, no matter who on the team comes and goes, no matter if you raise your prices, like whatever, no matter if you change your structure, your programming, etc. This is when you, my friend, are enjoying slow mornings every morning where you can have time to gather your thoughts, do your spiritual practices, self-care, etc. Get your visions for your next creative project, your next entrepreneurial endeavor. I know you got a million ideas in there. And most of your afternoons are spent bringing those creative ideas to fruition in the most deeply satisfying way. So I want you to know that I've been living at this level of visionary leader for like probably 5 years now. And I want to clarify for you that like it's not always rainbows and unicorns. There are days like this where the money flows, it's really spacious in your calendar, no drama on the team, clients are getting amazing results and just giving you glowing testimonials. It's like that. But also live long enough, friend, and like life happens, during this time for me personally, I've been through all kinds of things in my personal life, parent getting sick, breaking up with friends, um, an occasional turd in the punch bowl on my team that I have to deal with. Oh, a global pandemic that like took out my business for 15 months, like this Trump administration that seems to be like single-handedly fucking up the economy and like shaking up, my clients' like faith in their ability to invest right now. I mean, like, yeah, it happens. But here's what I want you to know. At the level of visionary leader, it's like, okay, you're going to have your feelings about all those things. Like life is lifing. You're a human being living on a planet with other human beings and having very human problems, right? But because you're more resourced in your nervous system, because you're more skillful as a leader, you're more knowledgeable, you're like super highly educated, and you're also like working on yourself internally, you can coach yourself through those sticky moments. And the things that used to trip you out for months or even years, like you can handle in like 7 hours, or even less, 7 minutes. They're just not as big of a deal anymore. Even if it is a big deal, like COVID, like a global pandemic taking out your business for some time or something like that, like you still can play the long game. You still just like make your move today, have some faith in that move, and make your next move tomorrow. And just trust that like over the period of however many decades you have left in your working life, like you'll figure it out. Like it's going to be okay. There's a level of emotional sort of steadiness and neutrality at the level of the visionary leader where you don't get so jerked around in your nervous system. And so that's really what I want to share with you. It's not like life is perfect. It's just that you know how to handle it. You have developed as a leader. So now that you have this full picture of these 4 levels of leadership, I'd love to know, like, how many of you know what level you're on the spectrum? You don't have to tell me in the comments, like, what level you're on. Just like if you know what level you're on, write the letter L in the comments. L, like I know I've identified what level I'm at right now and I'm serving at. Now I want to know, like, how many of you are where you want to be? Put a Y if you're where you want to be and it's like perfectly appropriate for you right now, because that might be true. Or put like an N if you're not quite there yet. If you'd like to get to the next level, right? If you feel like, okay, I'm done with this level, I'd like to ascend to the next level of leadership. Yeah, and I want you to know, like, this is the exact work that we do in my mentoring programs. It's all anchored around the foundational work of my 3-step embodied leadership system, which I've been telling you about this week. It's a very detailed rubric for how to build and lead your dream team and become this visionary leader that we're talking about today. Now, some of you are real ways out from the altitude of visionary leader. You're in doer of all the do, you're in manager, as it may be. And I just want you to know, you can't skip steps. You don't get to like skip ahead here. You will have to serve at each altitude to get to the next one, because there's many things to learn there, right? But I do want to give you a view of what you'll actually be doing when you get to the altitude of visionary leader, because at this point, your contribution won't be time-based. It won't be based on how much time you put into the business. It won't be based on how hard you're working. It won't be based on how much you're struggling, all that kind of stuff. At this level, you really have 4 jobs, and they don't take that much time, but they take in a tremendous amount of skill, knowledge, wisdom, and nervous system regulation. So number 1 is the visionary creatrix. And sometimes I call these the 4 archetypes of the visionary leader. So the visionary creatrix, who is she? You know who she is, because she's one of your like core essence archetypes. The visionary creatrix is the one inside of you who sources her visions from intuition, from spirit, from the level of soul, and can see it all play out. And then she creates it in the 3D reality. I want you to know a lot of visionaries aren't really interested in the 3D reality, but you, my small business owner friend, are. You kind of are what I call an edge walker. Like you can move from the soul plane to the mental plane to the 3D plane, and you kind of love dancing through those planes. Not everyone is like you. I want you to know. Some people love the 3D plane, but they do not understand what's going on in the 4D or the 5D. Some people just love hanging out in the 5D, but they have no interest in the 4D or the 3D. You're not like that. You move between the worlds, right? And the visionary creatrix sources her visions and then she moves them into the world. Now, things go slower in 3D reality than they go in the 5D or in the 4D. So it takes some time to actually see your visions come to fruition. And this is part of what you get to dance with at the level of visionary leader is like, how are you talking to yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you being with yourself when you're in that in-between time between the moment you had the vision and the moment it actually manifests in reality? That's a very interesting place to play in, right? Now, the second archetype of the visionary leader is the clear and magnetic communicator. This is something you're really going to work on with me is like learning how to use your words powerfully, learning how to communicate well in person, with your voice, with your body, with your energy, but also over email, over text, over DM, over social media. Like you will learn how to communicate really well with both your team and your audience, right? As well as yourself. The third archetype is the cash flow orchestrator. And I'm using those words in a very specific way because the cash flow orchestrator knows the dance with money. She knows about all the different ways she can enjoy her relationship with money and all the ways she can be supported by money. She knows how to create sales, and she does that all the time, practically on demand. She also knows how to save her money, invest her money, spend her money, and enjoy spending her money. She knows how to donate her money. She knows what to do with money. She knows how to borrow money, to leverage credit she has over here, to build this next investment here. She knows how to build wealth, and she has a continuing, ongoing, ever like deepening relationship with money. She knows that money is a tool to grow her small business and to grow really her bigger dreams for her small business, which have to do with money, but they also have to do with freedom and they have to do with impact and meaning, right? And so that is the cash flow orchestrator. And lastly, the fourth archetype is the powerful decision maker. So this is a lot of what you do at the level of visionary leaders. You make decisions. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily take a lot of time. You'll likely make a lot of your decisions like in the shower, or like walking on your nature trail, or in your hot tub. Like it's not necessarily time consuming, but it does take up space, life force, and energy. And it's really one of the main activities you're doing at this level is making decisions for your business, for your clients, for your team, and so on and so on. Here we go, right? This is the job. When you really embody these four archetypes of the visionary leader, this is what I want you to understand it feels like in your day-to-day. So like your dreaded content calendar for like your emails or whatever, your social media will be taken care of. And you'll never have to look at it again if you don't want to, because you have the team to actually do that. But it's not just that they're doing what you tell them to do. It's like they know how to think critically about messaging, about positioning, about, like getting engagement, about getting sales. Like they understand the strategic parts as well. You never have to have a sales conversation again if you don't want to, because your team has the money mindset, they have the sales chops, they have the magnetism and the rapport required to build rapport and required to get your prospects to a clear yes or no, right? And close those sales. At this level, when you're embodying these archetypes, you can go away for the weekend or the week or even a month or 3 and not even bring your device, because your team will hold it down for you while you are doing your thing with absolute skill, with absolute confidence. Your audience won't even know that you're gone at this level, right? And I want you to know, I've been teaching my clients these skills for almost 8 years now. The results that my long-term clients get are typical and repeatable. It's not shocking. Over the course of 1 to 4 years, because like I always say, leadership work is not fast work, it takes time. Here is what typically happens to my small business owner clients. They 2 to 5 times their income. They build a second or third business. They enjoy hours of extra time in nature or with their loved ones. They finally understand how to prioritize their spiritual and wellness practices, and in doing so, get much better access to their intuition. They develop more self-trust, more self-respect. They start to enjoy their business again. This is typical results of doing this leadership work. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. So let me tell you a little bit about how we are going to do this work together. So over the course of your 12 months in the Leadership Academy, or a shorter time period in one of my private mentoring containers, you're going to make small yet very potent upgrades to all 5 of your empowered CEO tools. Rockstar contributors, clear policies and agreements, smooth as silk sales and enrollment automations. Yes, 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 we're going to do that too. Sparkling systems and SOPs, standard operating procedures, and team meetings, which is where the magic happens. I'll move you through all of those very practical upgrades, and we'll also be moving you through this 3-step system I've been talking about this week. We talked about aligned roles and responsibilities, about really attracting your rock star hires and learning how to lead them on day one. Yesterday, we talked about embodying and integrating the 5 sparkling company culture shifts that are so very important for really building that that healthy, fertilized soil to grow your garden of your dream team and your dream business. And then today we've been talking about the 3rd step, which is to ascend in your own altitude from doer to manager to CEO to visionary leader. And in doing so, guess what happens? You make space for your team members to ascend in their altitude, right? As you move out of manager, guess what? Somebody needs to manage. So you're going to train someone else on the team in their managerial skills and their leadership skills, right? We need doer of all the do's in every business. We need managers in every business. We need a CEO in every business, and we need a visionary leader in every business, my friends, if you really want to do this thing right. What I'm describing to you is my signature method, the embodied leadership system. And I've been living it in my body for 15 years. I've been teaching it to my business owner mentees for almost 8 years. And I want you to understand, when you step into one of my coaching containers, you're not just a number in my world. I have a very small, intimate coaching business, and I like it that way. That's how it's going to be for me. We will have real, live, intimate conversations, whether you're in a group coaching container or a private one, if that's what you want. And I'll be able to support you on all different levels in this leadership container. Like, I want you to know you'll get all the practical pieces of how to build and lead your dream team with customizable, editable sample documents, templates, like, for example, for your help wanted ads, for your onboarding checklist, for your employee handbook, for example, your team meeting agendas, like very practical tools to help you run your business like a CEO, right? I'll give you systems for how to train your team to be great salespeople or great marketers, etc. I'm also going to teach you yourself leadership tactics and techniques, the literal how-to of becoming the CEO and the visionary leader of your business. I want to teach you some of my go-to communication formulas and some of the kinds of words and phrases that I use to help you make your message land more powerfully. And of course, you're going to receive in my world individual and very timely mentoring for your unique situation on your team today or this week or this month. If you're still watching this, you are so ready for this, like 100%. The story you might keep coming back to, that you'll do this work with me, after you complete this, or after you're making this much money, or after doing this or that, that's actually the story that is keeping you stuck in the tediously slow lane. you 100% deserve this level of support to support you in bringing this big vision of yours to fruition. You deserve this level of time freedom that is possible for you when you master these skills. And you deserve to be able to access one of your biggest spiritual gifts, which is your intuition and your creativity as a visionary, right? Because that's exactly what an extraordinary and trustworthy team for a small business can help you solidify. And I want you to know that I totally get that it's scary to come out of your control freakiness or your perfectionism or, your weird codependency patterns, your people pleasing, which is part of becoming a better leader, is like really doing some of that inner work on your people pleasing or your skepticism. Sometimes we have a lot of distrust that we have to move through in order to build a dream team. And I want you to know I can hold you through all of that because I've been there. I am there. I'm constantly doing my own work. I understand how messy the process of transformation can be. Remember, I'm a yogi, I'm a meditator. I've been doing personal development work for 30 years, since I was 18 years old. This program will give you a huge ROI, return on investment, if you can check off a certain number of things. Let me tell you what they are. So number one, you have a small team, or you don't yet have a team, but you understand that building one is your big next step for growing your small business. You like the idea of these very practical, actionable, like 3D reality business coaching, like templates and examples and all that stuff, formulas. And yet you also understand that this is about developing your confidence, your communication, your intuition, your embodiment as a leader and a boss, because it's all those things. You're smart, you're coachable, you're intuitive, you move fast when the action feels aligned or inspired. This is for fast movers. On a very practical level, the people who do best in my Leadership Academy, my other group programs, they are okay with moving themselves through the self-paced modules in my online courses so that they can really get the system. They're willing to speak up and ask me questions so that they can learn how to apply the system to to this week's issue that's coming up in their business. They have 60 minutes a week that they're willing to put into showing up to the call or listening to a module or, working on taking one of my sample documents and like editing it for their own team and sending it out, right? So they have about an hour, maybe 90 minutes at the most, that they're willing to dedicate to this work for the next year. And even if it's a bit stretchy, it's like this will work for you if you can wrap your mind around the $777 per month investment. It's a little less if you pay in full, but like you have to have an investor's mindset to understand the value of this leadership work because it's not fast work. It's not like instant overnight 10K months, or 10K more months, because some of you guys are making a lot more than 10K every month. So you have to have a bit of an investor's mindset. If this is you, you can get all the details for my May round on my website. Go to kikilovelace.com/leadership and you can read all about it. If after reading you have any questions, you can reach out to me on the socials. Just look me up. You'll find me there. Or you can email my director of operations, Shelly, who's one of my dream team members and a total rock star, at support@kikilovelace.com. And I want to encourage you, my friends, as we near the end of our 3-day masterclass, to complete the homework in your workbook, which you can comment the word workbook if you don't yet have the Drama-Free Dream Team workbook, because there's some really fun little actionable action steps or homework assignments in there that you can do this week in order to really crystallize the concepts I've been introducing to you and make them really feel real in your body, in your life, and in your business. And I want you to know, if you do complete the 3 days of homework assignments in the workbook, you will qualify to win a 2-week private mentoring bonus, which I'm going to deliver to you next month in April. This is 2 weeks, me and you. It's called Revenue Jumpstarter, and we're going to work on getting more money flowing into your business for 2 weeks. It's not going to take us that long. That part we're going to do really quickly. And then in May, you'll start your tenure in the Embodied Boss Leadership Academy. So post your homework in the comments below. tag me, and you'll qualify for that 2-week private mentoring bonus. I hope you've had a really illuminating week. It's been so fun to be with you here on YouTube and in all the other places I'm sharing this video. Reach out anytime with your questions. I love interacting with all of you. I love hearing from you. I love hearing how this work is landing for you and how it's resonating. And so hopefully I will talk to you real soon. Have a good one, everybody. Bye for now.